It's not even a full week into 2021 and the hashtag Civil War is already trending on Twitter. And after the events that happened at Capitol Hill yesterday, it got a lot of people frightened. Will 2021 begin with a civil war after Joe Biden takes Trump's spot as president? We can only hope not. But with Trump continually leading his followers to believe that the election was rigged, who knows what could go down within the next couple of weeks. Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions. I'm your host, Lindsay Ivan, and today I'm bringing you the video, what if Donald Trump starts a civil war in 2021? Again, let's hope that this isn't the case. So on January 6th of 2021, an angry mob of Trump supporters stormed Capitol Hill. Thousands of rioters showed up to cause violence. They fought with the police, got over the barricades, and managed to get inside Capitol Hill. After that, they began smashing windows and vandalizing the building. The rioters ended up getting into the Senate chamber where prior the election results were being certified. Many were seen waving Trump 2020 flags or wearing Keep America Great memorabilia. They then were caught looting and destroying offices of lawmakers such as the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office. This is considered one of the worst security breaches in US history. This was done as an attempt to stall the certification of the election results. As a result, the building was placed under lockdown. Now, of course, being that this was done by Trump supporters, Trump is being blamed for this. Hours before the riot, Trump delivered a speech that ushered his followers to head to Capitol Hill. He said, and I quote, "And after this, we're going to walk down there, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women." He continued on saying, "And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them, because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength and you have to be strong." This was followed with him claiming that the election was rigged by radical Democrats and that this whole thing is a bunch of fake news. Continuing on, he told his supporters to not accept the results of the election. He concluded by saying, "We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved." And that is what is said to have pushed the Capitol Hill takeover to happen. It's just scary to think about how much power Trump has over his followers. Although Joe Biden won, and it's been proved that he won fairly, Trump is convinced that the election was fraudulent. It's his way of not having to face defeat. And he's managed to convince hundreds of thousands of others that this is the case. He has said things like, and I quote, "Statistically impossible to have lost the 2020 election." He tweeted that on December 20th. Followed by big protest in DC on January 6th. Be there, will be wild. And he was right. So Trump managed to convince thousands of people to storm Capitol Hill, and they did this fairly successfully. So imagine what else he could get them to do. If he has that much influence over people, then yes, he could potentially start a civil war. Trump has the power to divide the country in half. If he continues on saying things were rigged and fraudulent, then his supporters are going to go to even more extreme lengths to try to overthrow Biden and get Trump back in office. In fact, after this happened, Trump still didn't realize how serious of an issue this was. He posted a message on social media to address what happened. In the video, Trump said, and I quote, "It's time to go home now. I know your pain, I know you're hurt. We had an election that was stolen from us. It was a landslide election and everyone knows it, especially the other side. But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period of time. There's never been a time like this where such a thing happened, where they could take it all away from us. From me, from you, from our country. This was a fraudulent election, but we can't play into the hands of these people." A lot of people were outraged by this because it seemed as if he was trying to justify the rioters' actions. And by saying things like fraudulent election and having it taken away from us, it's still fueling the fire. It's still going to cause uproar among his followers. If Trump never comes to terms with his loss, then neither will they. And this makes the chance of another riot or even civil war a possibility. Now, Trump continued on by saying, and I quote, "We have to have peace, so go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens, you've seen the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel, but go home and go home in peace. Now, the only good part about this video is how Trump said we have to have peace and law and order. We can only hope that he will continue on promoting peace and respect of the law. Again, the video was very problematic because he didn't tell his supporters off. He didn't tell them their actions were unacceptable, meaning they could go on to continue to fight for Trump in violent ways. When Biden becomes president, a lot of people are predicting another violent uproar from Trump's supporters. They are fearful that they will try to overthrow the Biden-led government. What could this mean? Potentially the storming of the White House or attacks against Biden and his government, or even attacks against individuals with opposing views, and more street riots in an attempt to get the government to change their ways. All I can say is that this would end badly for everyone. Now let's talk about the American Civil War that occurred from 1861 to 1865. This war was between 11 southern states that seceded from the Union and formed the Confederacy. Now a lot of things did lead up to the Civil War, but the main thing was the northern and southern states' different opinions, such as the northerners wanted to protect free labor and felt there was a moral imperative to ending slavery. On the other hand, southerners felt as though their institutions would fail if they limited the expansion of slavery. Also, the North was modernizing and finding new ways to do things. This led to politicians being unable to make compromises between the two sides, and pushed a lot of people over the edge. Then Abraham Lincoln won the presidency that year, causing those opposed to him to begin the Confederacy. In the end though, after 4 bloody years of conflict, Abe and his government did win. But it was considered the bloodiest conflict in the history of North America. Around 620,000 American soldiers died during this war. We do not need this to happen again. It would completely devastate the states in a time where they are already currently overwhelmed by the pandemic. If Trump does start a civil war, then hundreds of thousands of individuals would be killed. On top of that, if people are going around fighting during COVID, then it's just going to continue to spread and overwhelm the country. Hospitals would be overflowing with COVID patients and injured people from the battles. In the end, the war wouldn't be successful. It would leave the country devastated, and it would take them a long time to rebuild their society and structure. Now, most civil wars are said to be fueled by fear. One group of people fear another group, maybe because they have contrasting views or they believe they pose a threat. As explained by social psychologists at the University of Massachusetts, they said, and I quote, "Existential threat is a perceptual phenomenon, meaning that the threat only has to be perceived or imagined for someone to experience a sense of existential threat." And that's what Trump has done. He has made it seem like people are out to get him by constantly saying things like the election is rigged. It makes Americans scared. They don't know who to trust. Now again, let's look back at the first Civil War of America. That's when America was divided, just full of people unable to come to terms with their opponents' values, lifestyles, and political agendas. A lot of the arguing had to do with human rights, racial inequity, and the economy. Doesn't that sound familiar as to what's happening right now? It for sure does, which is very worrisome. So in the end, it seems as though it comes down to Trump. Should he continue on slamming the government and the election, the more it's going to fuel his followers. This in turn could possibly lead to a civil war. Again, that's the worst case scenario. Let's hope that the rest of January, and the year for that matter, goes smoothly and war-free. Alright guys, let's move right along to our comment shoutout. I'll be shouting out comments from the video, "What if the Yule Cat was real?" I Make Music Playlist commented, "New socks for Christmas ain't looking so bad now, right?" I got new socks for Christmas. I absolutely love them. I got ones with little cows on it because it's my favorite animal, and I also got like little Lilo and Stitch Disney socks. I love them, okay? I love getting funky socks for Christmas. Tina Jones commented, "Hi, how did everyone's Christmas go? You know, it was a little different this year because I couldn't see all my family. But you know, we made the most of it, and we played lots of board games, which is really fun." The Tron Warriors commented, "Lizzie should be a cryptid hunter and myth and urban legend hunter." I love that. Can I have my own show? I'd love that. Just going out exploring things, like debunking it. Sign me up. I'm ready for that. Masker Bloodwild commented, "Just spray him with a bottle of water." You know what? I never thought of that. Just get like because this cat is massive, just get a giant spray bottle and just I don't know, it may work. So there you go. Alright guys, that's all the comments I'm showing out for today's video. Make sure to comment something down below for a chance to be featured in my next comment shoutout. And as always, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to Life's Biggest Questions for more thought-provoking videos. I've been your host, Lindsay Ivan, and stay curious, YouTube. They are fearful that they will, this war was between 11 southern states that, is it succeeded? That's not succeeded.
No, seceded.
Seceded, thank you. Okay, this war was between, seceded? Okay. In the end though, after 4 bloody years of conflict, Abe and his government, oh my god, as explained by social psychologists at the University of Massachusetts, they said, and I quote, "Existential threat is a perceptual phenomenon." Existential